How we doing? We are live, and the title says it all. It's time to talk about transfers. We only have around about 4 weeks until the January transfer window opens. And yeah, I think we need some signings, don't we? I don't think we got all the players that we wanted. And this is part of that process. And I'm going to explain a few things in this and make things very clear. And you can then make your own minds up. We don't try and easily lead people here. But it's very, very simple that obviously we needed certain players in certain positions. We never got them all. And one of the biggest problems we do have at this football club are the players that we still have on our wage bill. Now, it's very, very easy for people to say, get rid of the deadwood. The issue is that because of the past regime, and you've got to remember, this is going right back to Ivan Gazidis, we put players on ridiculous wages. We're talking players that are on wages that, should be winning us Champions Leagues, Premier Leagues. I'm not saying we are gonna, but what I'm trying to say is that the money we were paying players, you would expect those players to be winning those trophies, but they weren't. They couldn't even get us in the Champions League, and we're playing in the Europa League. It's like we're paying, champagne money, and we've got lemonade football. There's the big problems. And so much of those problems are trying to be rectified and sorted out to this day. I done an interview after Manchester City away. I think it was probably about 3 years ago when Wenger was still in charge, 3-4 years ago. And I said at that time that we needed to lower our expectations right now, and that we're going to struggle to get in the top 10, and it's going to take over 5 years or so for us to rectify all of the mistakes. I think that we've even gone a further year back with Unai Emery coming in because of how bad it finished. And I know people will sit there and use this comparison of the first 29 games, 30 games under Unai Emery, Mikel Arteta and everything else. But the one thing that everybody conveniently misses out with all of that is that in Unai Emery's opening 29, 30 games as Arsenal manager, his record was also better than Arsene Wenger's. Does that mean Unai Emery was a better manager than Arsene Wenger, does it? No, it don't, does it? So this is why I quite clearly state, judge a man after 38 games. When 38 games are gone, everybody's on a level playing field. Unai Emery would have had 38 games. Mikel Arteta would have had 38 games. Arsene Wenger would have had his first 38. And then you can also compare that to other managers, from Jurgen Klopp to Pep Guardiola to Pochettino, whoever it might be. You get a proper comparison. You can never, ever compare people after a fraction of games. And it's as simple as that. The one thing you can compare is that in the opening 30-odd games, whatever it might be, under Mikel Arteta, under Unai Emery, under Arsene Wenger, Mikel Arteta won more than both of them. That's reality. I'm not saying he's a better manager than Arsene Wenger. I'm saying the facts are there for all to see. So believe in what we're trying to create. And I understand, and I know quite a lot that's going on behind the scenes as well. And I also know that a lot is being worked on to rebuild. So much is being restructured from, not just on the pitch, but off the pitch. And there's so much that went wrong and has been wrong. So it's going to take time. But you know what? The transfers are most important, in January, and we can't wait until the summer. And the reason why I'm doing this show is because obviously over the last 24 hours or so, people have been really talking about the activity that Arsenal are supposedly, going to get up to in the January window. And the rumor today is that we're looking at a right-sided centre-back and also an attacking midfielder. So we're going to go and get into some of the names. Some of you would have seen by the thumbnail, two of the players in particular. And it's all well and good. You can sit there and say, oh, yeah, but you're never going to get them or anything else. Listen, a lot of you said we weren't getting Thomas Partey. A lot of you said we weren't getting Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Yeah, how did that one end up? So get your questions in, get your suggestions in. Fasten your seatbelt because it's going to be a bit of a bumpy one. But we got a question from Big Josh. And he says about, do you think we will get Szoboszlai in January? Now, I think I pronounced that right. Everyone knows about me butchering names, especially the Europa League teams. But yeah, Dominik Szoboszlai, and what an unbelievable player he is. And the thing about him is that with him having a release clause, which I think is around about £23 million, something along them lines, is that it's cheap in anybody's book. In today's market, that is a ridiculously low price. The issue Arsenal have is that there's about 5, 6, 7 clubs after him. And we're talking about, well, reportedly talking about Bayern Munich, teams like that. Now, if I'm a player and I've got Bayern Munich after me and I've got Arsenal after me, you're going to be thinking about your trophies you're going to win and stuff like that. And you would go to Bayern Munich. But then on the flip side is, where would he fit into Bayern Munich? And I know, don't get me wrong, he could seriously do some, good things at Bayern Munich, but it's a very, very interesting one involving him. But I think that maybe we could go for him in January based on the fact that it's a good time to try and get a player in January, because not all these other clubs want to buy in January. They don't have the funds. They don't have, the means of whatever it might be. We have got the means. So it could be very, very interesting to see. But if we signed him, I would be absolutely buzzing, man. Super chat come in from Ethan. Massive thank you to you. And he says, I want us to go young. Best will in the world. We aren't winning or competing for the league anytime soon. So don't buy 27-plus-year-old Szoboszlai. Jolson Fernandez and Max Aarons would be top of my wish list. And do you know what? There's a name there that you just mentioned in Max Aarons. And, before the summer transfer window had finished, he was being linked with the likes of Barcelona, and it looked like he was going there. And Max Aarons is a name that I've mentioned before as a right back. He's an Arsenal fan as well. With Norwich getting relegated, that's a player that you could go for. In an ideal world, if we're going to be looking at the right back position, then I would love to get Lamptey from Brighton. He'll probably cost you around about 20, 25 million pounds. But I don't know what the situation is with Chelsea. Do they have a buyback clause? Do they have first rights? Whatever it is, I don't know. I'm just suggesting he's the ideal player when you're looking at right backs who could fit our system. He's most definitely one that's really caught the eye in the Premier League this season. And he only cost Brighton about £2.4 million from Chelsea. But Max Aarons is definitely a good name to throw in the hat as well. But an interesting stat as well is that Cedric, in the 4 games that Cedric has started for Arsenal, we've won all 4 games. Interesting stat. Just throwing it out there. Of course, another name. And the amount of times that I heard this name during the course of the summer, Houssem Aouar. I heard it so much, I actually started to pronounce it correctly. I even knew how to spell it without having to look anymore. So he would be, for me, the dream signing. Honest to God, he would be the dream signing. And I think the worst thing that happened was him staying at Lyon for himself. We've seen the problem since, the start of the season. He clearly doesn't want to be there. He's clearly not happy. He's having fallings out. He's, getting reprimanded for, not doing things in training or whatever. And he's an unbelievable talent. And he would slot straight into this Arsenal team all day long. He is exactly what the likes of Pepe and Aubameyang have been craving for. Somebody like a Hosimoa. Massive, man. Edward Chamberlain has said that he's a Chelsea fan and we don't have a buyback clause on Tariq Lamptey. So that's an interesting one, because if they don't have a buyback clause, then he is most definitely a player that I would love Arsenal to sign. I think that he is absolutely superb. What a talent that boy is. And given the fact he cost around about that £2 million, which I was saying, you could easily go and get him for about 20 odd million pound, and Brighton are making themselves a 20 odd million pound profit all day long, man. But then at the same time as well, I see some Chelsea fans saying that they have got a buyback clause. So we'll have to wait and see. I know a couple of people at Chelsea, and I'm going to have to try and dig deep and see whether they can find out any information for me and whether there is some kind of first refusal or anything. I see this one here. His name's gone, but I see go and get Haaland. Listen, I think every football club in the world will be going after Haaland. Now, David O, very good question here, because you've mentioned, would I take Christian Eriksen? And you know what? I've been having a long, hard think about this. Now, initially, when I first heard his name being mentioned, I thought to myself, and I feel a lot of Arsenal fans felt the same in this, is that I would take him because it would annoy Spurs fans. That was my initial reaction, because I know that Spurs fans loved him. And I know Spurs fans that would be gutted if he went to Arsenal. And then I sat there and thought to myself, nah, he's too old now. He's not, on that level. Look how it finished at Spurs and everything else. And there was all, kind of madness going on. There was talk about, punch-ups in the changing room because of affairs, and wives were involved and everything. So I don't know whether that played a part, and he clearly hasn't fitted the system at Inter Milan, which is predominantly a 3-4-3 under Conte. And I was having a look at some statistics from his time in the Premier League, and this was very, very interesting. And I'm just going to throw this out there because I'd like to get your thoughts on this. But Christian Eriksen, since he made his Premier League debut, right, in terms of goals and assists, he sits 7th in the all-time ranking of the Premier League since his debut, with 113 goals and assists. He ranks 1st in terms of assists, 62. He ranks 1st in chances created, 571. He ranks 1st in terms of goals from outside of the box, 23. And he ranks 1st in terms of free kick goals, 8. And there's a few little statistics there that I look at and I think, out of the box, free kicks, chances created, 3 things that we desperately need right now. We don't have anybody that takes a shot from outside of the box. We don't have anyone that can take a free kick. David Luiz steps up and thinks he's Ronaldo. And when he shoots at the clock end, it hit Herbert Chapman outside near the bridge. And I look at that and I just think, maybe if it was a stopgap. Now, I'm going to throw this one here to Arsenal fans in the chat. If Arsenal were to go and get Szoboszlai or Hosimoa, either one of those two, and Christian Eriksen, both of them, yeah? Either one of the two, Szoboszlai or Owa, and then Christian Eriksen. Would you take that as an Arsenal fan? I would. If it was just Christian Eriksen on his own, I wouldn't take it. I want either one of the other two that I've mentioned. So would you take that deal if you had that opportunity? Let me know in the comment section on that one. So one of the, look, I see a lot of names about players leaving and stuff like that. And I'll get onto that in a second about players leaving and everything else. But one that's very, very interesting as well is we've been talking about defenders. Now, a right-sided defender, it looks very, very, you know, straightforward that Saliba is going to be leaving. And he's going to be going out on loan in January, rightly or wrongly. We're not here to discuss, you know, the reasons behind it or whatever it might be. But from what everyone's saying, he's going to be gone in January. And there is talk that Patrick Vieira is trying to actually sign him at Nice. But of course, Saliba's preferred destination would be back to Saint Etienne. But I look at this and I think, right, okay, right-sided centre-back. Now, who would there be? Now, the name that's always being mentioned is Upamecano. I mentioned his name so many times as well, but I genuinely, believe that he's actually going to go to Liverpool. I got a feeling Upamecano is going to go there because of Liverpool's problems in defence and everything else, and they're going to go all out to try and get somebody. But a name that I've seen mentioned is Ibrahim Konate, his defensive partner at Leipzig. And I remember, I think it was about maybe even longer that, about 3 years ago, I'd done a video on Konate. At the same time, I'd done a video on Upamecano. And I said that I couldn't split the two of them, that I felt they were just as good as each other. And there's a lot of people that actually believe Konate is better than Upamecano. Now, I do watch the Bundesliga. I do see, games that go on there. But I'm not, like an expert on the Bundesliga or anything. So if there's anyone in the comment section that genuinely knows about the Bundesliga and watches it and knows about Konate and Upamecano, what's your honest assessment of them two? Would you rather have Konate ahead of Upamecano? Some people say that Upamecano is a little rash at times, whereas Konate is more of the composed one. Very similar in stature, very big and powerful, good on the ball. So it's a very, very interesting one. If we could go for someone like a Konate, then it allows, Saliba to go off on loan, to learn, to develop and come back and fight for his place. And, I look at the left-hand side of centre-back. Gabriel is the main man. He's our best centre-back by a million miles. But Mari coming into the side as well now, it's very evident that he's going to be the second choice left centre-back, and those two are going to fight it out. So it makes sense to get someone there. But also, I do genuinely believe that we need to get that right-back position sorted out. But then if we brought Cedric, then why is he not getting the opportunity, So that's an interesting one. See, this one here from Sambo Robinson, and he says, I watch a lot of the Bundesliga, and I've got to admit that Upamecano is better, but is more mistake-prone. Plus, he has an ego. Konate does the job and is more polished. So that's an interesting one. And that's what I was saying. It was, I think it was about 3 years ago, I'd done the video on those two. And I said at the time, either one of them, I believe they're around about the same height, 6'4", 6'5", something along them lines. They are absolute monsters. And it's no surprise that Leipzig, I don't know what their situation this season is in terms of goals conceded, but I know over the last couple of years, their defensive record has been really, really good. And one of the reasons for that has been these two. I know that Upamecano's had some injury problems as well. But I don't really know too much about Konate's recent, problems and whether he's had any big injuries or whatever it might be. See, I'm getting someone here saying that Konate is injury prone, so that you've got to be careful of that. Got a super chat from Gio Aguiles, and he says DT Mukwele is one Arsenal should go for. He can play right back and right centre back, and release clause is £30 million. He has pace and power. I'm not going to lie, I don't know too much about him, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. So that is most definitely somebody that I'm going to go and have a little check out now. Get that YouTube compilation going and have a look. Who does he play for? Let me know, because this is very interesting. This is why I like having these kind of shows where we can talk and we can, you know, have interaction and everything, because there's some players there that I might know a few bits about that some of you may not, wherever you are in the world. And there's players that you will know about and speak to me about, and I've not heard of them. So it's very, very interesting. Another super chat from Ethan. Oh, mate, what kind of question was that? That's like, how am I meant to pronounce that name? Let me have a look. And the first thing I always do as well, man, I make sure I don't get caught out like Robbie, because you know what he's like with his name pronunciations and everything else. But this looks like Benoit. It's probably really easy once you get the hang of it, but he plays for Monaco. And Ethan says that he's monstrous pacey and just a very consistent 7 out of 10 centre-back every match. So again, I'm going to have to check him out, man. Do you know what? I haven't seen a lot of the French football, especially since COVID as well. I haven't seen a lot of what's going on in the world at the moment with other football and everything. And yeah, do you know what? That's one of the things that I saw earlier on in one of the questions. I did see someone mention that Szoboszlai, they were saying that he's 27. He's definitely not 27. Definitely not 27. Let me have a little look and just to see how old he actually is. Let's have a look. And I bet everybody now is in the comment section saying, oh, he's this old, he's this old, he's this old. Let's have a quick look just to... You know, the maddest thing, he's got the maddest name, yeah, in terms of spelling. I still have not got used to this one yet, and I don't think I will, to be quite honest with you. It's most definitely a crazy one to have on the back of a shirt, that's for sure. But yeah, let's have a look here. He is 20 years old. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, I see someone saying 27. I was like, what? 20? Nah, man. He's not 27 years old, man. Most definitely not. Plays for Red Bull Salzburg. And if you've seen him in the Champions League and what he's been doing in there, he's been absolutely mad. I know you're going to talk about that miss in the Champions League last week. I think it was against Munich, wasn't it? But look, every player misses opportunities, man. He is a serious player, man. See, now listen, when I see things like this, right, I get a super chat coming here from SB. And he says, how about the Ukrainian wonder kid? Now, this is the thing. When I see somebody put the Ukrainian or whatever nationality it might be, wonder kid, and there's a name, I look at it and I think, yeah. Let me put this on the screen. Let me try and find his actual super chat on the... let me just try and find this. Hold on 1 second. Where are you? Please be there. Here we go. Right. Is that really a person? Is that really a player? Please tell me. Let me have a look. You know what? That name don't actually look too bad. Tomachenko. I actually think that might well be a real person, you know. Fair play if it is, but I'm just very cautious. Let's have a look at another super chat from Niamo R PLK. Did you see the news today? ARS wants to change Özil, I believe that Arsenal obviously wants to change Özil, Xhaka, Mustafi for Grealish, and the Saliba case is a big mistake by Arteta. Believe me, he is great. Aston Villa would have to be smoking something very, very strong to be swapping Jack Grealish and cash for Özil, Xhaka, and Mustafi. That's all I can say in relation to that. Ricky Fennell, looking back now, do you think that Wenger overachieved with some of the squads he managed to get into the top 4? Big fan from Birmingham. Shout out to you, Ricky. Do you know what? I think the Premier League was a lot easier under Arsene Wenger in his time that he was here, in terms of, you know, how competitive it was. It was, you know, nowhere near the levels it was. I remember when he first started, it was just between Arsenal and Manchester United. There was no Chelsea, there was no Manchester City. Liverpool weren't doing anything. So it was a lot more easier to get into the top 4, but you can't take away the achievement of getting into the top 4 because he's done it for over 20 years. But was it right to change him? Of course it was right to change him. It was going downhill rapidly, and we're still trying to fix a lot of the mess from that time. Believe me, it's not going to happen overnight, and it's not going to, you know, be an easy fix. Manchester United are doing the similar things, you know, 8 years nearly down the line since Sir Alex Ferguson left, and he left Manchester United as champions. Trust me, it's not easy. It's not easy. Another super chat from Raymond Liang. Hey, DT, fancy more Chelsea players? No. I don't. Unless you want to give me Ziyech, I'll have him. But not in about 15 years' time when he's past it. And he's saying, though, that banter aside, focus on offloading Deadwood first. So what I will say with regards to the Deadwood, and you can refresh my memory here in the comment section, and I will get to your super chat, Finn McElroy, very, very soon. And it was a question about Jurgen Klopp's comments. Now, were they to do with the 12:30 kickoffs? I will go to that in a second. But with relation to the Deadwood and the players that we got to get rid of, one of the biggest issues that we've had at Arsenal is that the wages that these players have been put on, stupid. Nobody, and I mean nobody, is going to be paying those wages. Nobody's going to give Mesut Ozil 350 grand a week. And with the fact that so many of them are running right down to the end of their, you know, their contracts and whatnot, they're definitely not going to get sold. Now, Ozil's contract is about to expire. That's 350 grand a week freed in wages. Socrates is about to leave. That's over 100 grand a week in wages. David Luiz is about to finish his contract. That's 120 odd grand a week in wages. Mustafi is about to leave. That's over 100 grand a week in wages. Now, I know there's more. Believe me, there's more. We just got Henrik Mkhitaryan off our books, and he was nearly 200 grand a week. That there alone is around about 650 to 700,000 pound a week in wages that we will be freeing up. And apart from David Luiz, none of those players are contributing or doing anything and going to be the mainstay of this club. And David Luiz is not going to be the mainstay of the club, but I mean, he's actively involved at the moment. Super chat here from I Am La Flame. Some of the names. DT, Arsenal lack ball carriers. All we do is keep passing around. We should get Zaha, Grealish, Aouar, and Lamptey. Re-sign Saliba from the academy again. We don't need to re-sign him because he is our player. We could just bring him in, but there's not much we can do with the Premier League squad. So I believe he is registered for the Premier League. It's the Europa League he's not registered for, so he can't play in that. And that's what's annoying, because we got a game on Thursday against Rapid Vienna, and that would be perfect for William Saliba to play in. Absolutely perfect. So that's really, really annoying that he can't be involved in that. And I think that was a big mistake to, not get him involved in the Europa League squad. Super chat here from King Marino. For attack, I would want Lautaro Martinez, Eriksen and Grealish for midfield. I think Paredes from PSG, and Montiel plays for Argentina, and Canate. My word, you've got a big shopping list there, haven't you? That's a very, very big shopping list. So, yeah, I've touched on the Christian Eriksen one, and I've gone through some of his statistics and everything else. And I think that's a very, very interesting one as to, what could happen with him and whether we would actually go for him. Lautaro Martinez, yeah, I've seen bits of him. Grealish, we all know about. Can't say too much about Paredes. I know of him, but not really seen his game. And then the lad for Argentina, I don't know anything about. And Canate, we've already touched on that as well. So some interesting names being thrown around there. Kedar Kulkarni says, why are great things expected from Arteta just because he worked with Pep? Isn't that too much to expect from a student? He has never managed big teams. Well, listen, the thing is, is that he came in and he showed very, very quickly that he's got the capabilities of getting these players playing. And he showed very quickly that he knows what it takes to win a trophy. And we're now into that next phase, and it's the rebuilding phase. And one of the things that I know 100% on is that there's about 5 players at this club who Arsenal wanted to get rid of, actively wanted to get rid of. If those 5 players, or at least 3 of those 5, and I'm particular in the 3 of the 5, and I think most people can guess who. But if those were taken off the wage bill, then we would have got more signings. We would have been able to get the players we needed in. One of the biggest problems we had was the quota and the Premier League squads and the homegrown and everything else. This is why even Mesut Ozil, even William Saliba was left out of squads, because we had too many players. We anticipated shifting some of these players and they didn't. Kolasinac, for example, was on his way back to Germany. Last minute, fell through. Socrates was on his way out the door. Last minute, fell through. There's 2 players right there. If they've gone, you're freeing up space. Now, Socrates is one that was never going to be considered anyway, but Kolasinac, he's in all the other squads, Europa League, Premier League, etc., etc. So there would have been a space for the likes of William Saliba. But yeah, we definitely, trust me on this, wanted to get rid of quite a few players, and they're hanging on. And they're, what's the word? Just trying to see out their time at Arsenal. And yeah. This is a very interesting one from Dan B. I genuinely think we should try and buy James Justin from Leicester. Quality young player at only 22 and would be cheap, 10 to 20 million pound. I think he could even be sold on for 30 million pound. Now, very, very interesting bit of information involving James Justin is that I actually know him and his family very, very well. I used to play football with his uncles, Ricky, Keith, And I also knew his dad, who sadly passed away a few months ago. And I actually spoke to James just after his dad passed away. Actually, I spoke to him and, you know, send him my condolences and everything else. And I remember when we played Leicester last season at the Emirates and he played in that game. And I remember thinking to myself at the time that if fans were allowed back in the stadium, all his family would have been there. You know, his uncles, Keith and Vinny and Ricky and all them, because they're massive, massive Arsenal fans. And it would have been, yeah, a real, you know, proud moment to see their nephew playing. But yeah, maybe I should send him a message and see if he wants to come and join Arsenal. See if I can tap him up. But he's having a great time at Leicester. Trust me, he's having a really good time. And he was a player that was on the books at Luton. And that's obviously where Leicester had signed him from. And he was, you know, so good at Luton. And that's why he got the move to Leicester. And I felt that was a great move for him at that time. But yeah, I don't think, you know, the one thing about Leicester is that they're not one of these clubs that you can walk all over and try and take one of their players for cheap. They'll put big prices on it. Look at what they ended up making Manchester United pay for Harry Maguire. I did see someone say a question here, and I didn't quite get the name, but I did see the question. It was that, would I take Hector Bellerin at DTFC? And the answer is no, because I've got two right backs at DTFC that are actually better than him, and I'm not even playing games. Super chat from Ethan. Saliba wouldn't need to be registered as he can be added to the under-21 list, which is what Saka is on, and I believe doesn't have a limit on it. I don't know what the actual rules behind it are. There's so many complicated things. I think he would have to be here for a period of time. I'm not 100% sure what the exact rules are. I can't remember. I remember reading it at the time when it was all done. And I know he had to be registered for the Europa League, but he wasn't, which is why he's not in the squad. But the Premier League, I do believe he's available, but he's just not going to be thrown in. And something's obviously going on in training, or something's not happening in training, which is why he's not being played. And he's, you know, being considered to be sent out on loan again. And we know that he's, you know, lost his parents recently and everything. And it's tough for the boy. And we've got to be patient with him, that's for sure. Super chat from Brandon AFC Fan TV. Do you honestly think that we will spend in January? We are loan deal FC in the window normally, and I have a bad feeling that the club will wait till the summer to do any major business. What I can say is that Arsenal are looking to buy in January actively, and they're looking at a couple of big names. And I feel that Arsenal, what's happened is that there were players that they couldn't shift. Now, I've explained that side of it already. The other thing that you need to understand is that in terms of the Premier League squads and the Europa League squads, is that they get redone again in January. So, you know, for argument's sake, Saliba can be added to the Europa League in January. And it's the same with the Premier League, because you might have a player that you've just signed or a long-term injury that you want to take out now. So you're allowed to redo them again in January. Now, what Arsenal are looking at as well is that players that are looking to leave, the names that I've mentioned, like Socrates, etc., once January comes around, they are free to negotiate a deal with another club. They are allowed to leave. And I believe it's another club from another country. They can't negotiate with another team from the Premier League, but I don't envisage anyone from the Premier League trying to sign Socrates, with all due respect. So they're allowed to, you know, navigate their move. I think Arsenal are going to take their losses on a few, get them off the books, and it means that they can bring them in. Now, Arsenal do have money and wages sitting there ready to be used, and that's the bonus, unlike other windows where we're normally sitting there around January and it's a period where not really anybody makes much moves. If you remember, we signed Aubameyang in a January window. So we certainly have got the capabilities of doing it. The money's certainly there. The fact that in 4 months, 5 months time maximum, we're freeing up nearly £1 million a week in wages. £1 million a week in wages. Staggering. I'm not even joking. That is just staggering. Nearly £1 million in wages. Jesus Christ. That is mad. Wow. But yeah, we're going to be doing that. So I genuinely do believe that we're going to be actively, working in the window and bringing in a couple of players at least. And we need to get that spark. And we've got a tough December. I'm trying to think of our games in December. I know that we've got Tottenham on Sunday. I'm not going to include the Europa League games because we're already qualified. And I think that's a great opportunity for us to play the likes of Emil Smith-Rowe, Balogun, etc., etc. I know we've then got Burnley at home. I think we've then got Southampton at home. We've then got Everton away. I think on Boxing Day, we've got Chelsea at home. And I think that's our December. We've also got Manchester City at home in the Carabao Cup as well, quarter-final. So it's a tough December. And normally, when you look at how many games we've got at home in December, you would normally be going, you know what, I'm happy with that because, we're playing at home and that's an advantage. But the way we're playing at home, it's a disadvantage. I'd rather be away. The irony in that, considering we're normally so poor away and we've actually been very good at home, swings and roundabouts. Another super chat from Ethan. Could it just be a Saliba is learning a way to communicate with a backline and goalkeeper, which may not speak French? Well, the thing is, I think with Gabriel, he will speak French. I believe with him being Brazilian, I think his language would be Portuguese. But with him being in France for such a long time, then he obviously can speak French as well. Tierney, he's Scottish. And then on the right-hand side, Bellerin, Spanish, Leno, German. I just think that he's still got a lot to learn. He's still a young boy and he's gone through a really tough time in his life. And I think that's more what it's down to than anything else. Another super chat from I Am La Flame. What's your thoughts on Danny Ings? He's only 28. Would you trade him for Lacazette? The thing with Danny Ings is injuries, and I believe he's out at the moment with an injury, and he picked up another one. Is that when he went to, it was Liverpool, wasn't it, where he was at? I think Southampton's the right club for him. And I'm trying to say that without being disrespectful because his record at Southampton is just phenomenal. But it's not what I feel Arsenal need, in my opinion. Quality player, but just not what we need. And there's other players out there that I think that we should be getting if Lacazette does get moved on. Whether the likes of Balogun actually breaks into the first team, because I know he's highly, regarded at Arsenal. And I've seen a lot of Balogun at the under-23s and stuff. And believe me, when you see him in person and you watch him play live, he's a big boy, man. He's a powerful striker. He's very, very good. And this is why he's very highly thought of at the club and why we're trying to confirm this new contract with him. Super chat from Sam Instrumentals. Just a quick opinion. I reckon we have at most 5 players that are truly good enough to win a league title. What do you think? Much love from Ireland. Shout out to you, Sam. I'm looking through the team now and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I know people will sit there and criticize, but I still don't understand the disrespect he gets. But Bern Leno is absolute top draw for me, one of the best in the Premier League. Gabriel is really showing already just how good he's going to be and how good he is as a centre-back. I think Kieran Tierney's a quality player and he's a player that knows how to win trophies as well. Thomas Partey goes without saying, the guy's world class, and for me, he gets into any midfield in the Premier League. And despite his current lack of goals, Aubameyang, is absolute top draw. And despite his, lack of goals in the Premier League at the moment, only 2 players have scored more goals than him since he joined Arsenal in the Premier League, and that's Jamie Vardy and Mo Salah. And we're talking Vardy, I think, is 4 goals ahead, and Mo Salah's about 5 or 6. Not a lot in it at all. So yeah, it's interesting. And also Nicola Pepe, we can get the best out of him. The guy's got the potential to be a phenomenal footballer. Trust me on that. But we need to get it out of him now. He's been here long enough, and it cost a lot of money. So we need to see it now. And this is why we need to get these certain signings in, because they will help massively, massively help. Super chat from Peace Love. We will win the league this season. Remember this. I love your optimism. I really do love your optimism. But even I'm not that optimistic. I don't think even Ty is that optimistic. But what I will say is, and this is what's strange, people can sit and laugh and banter and everything else about Arsenal being in 14th place. But despite the problems and everything that's going on at the moment, we're 5 points behind 5th. 5 points. Literally a couple of victories and results go the right way. You go from there to there. Do you know what I mean? It's like insane how tight things are. And I just look at that and I just think to myself, yeah, there's not a lot in it in any way, shape or form, because nobody's put a real consistent run together. The team that will win the league this year will be the team that put the most consistent run together, because I don't think that there's going to be more than one team that does it. I can't see the league continuing like this for 38 games, where it's like a yo-yo and it's just anybody and everybody, free for all over the place and everything else. All these teams that are riding high at the moment, your West Hams and everything, good luck to them right now, because after 38 games, you won't be above Arsenal. But yeah, not this season, man. Not this season. It's never going to happen. We've got too many things to sort out. And if we get the players that we want and sort out those issues, then maybe in a few years' time, we could have that discussion. Sam Instrumentals has followed up with the players that he was speaking about, his 5, and it's Leno, Gabriel, Tierney, Oba, Partey. So yeah, those were the 5 names that I mentioned as well. But also there's Nicola Pepe in there, because I believe he's potentially got everything to be truly, truly world class. But it's down to him now. But also down to the players as well. We've got to start getting the best out of him. And we've got to start, playing to his strengths. And that's down to the manager as well. He's got to, help with that side of things. Yeah, Finn McElroy, his question about Jurgen Klopp and the 12:30 kickoffs. I fully get what he's saying. Now, from what I'm hearing, it's that 12:30 kickoffs make, the Premier League, Sky and everything else too much money. Whatever the TV channels are, I think it's Sky that have the 12:30s, but these kickoff times make too much money for them. But I fully do start to understand and agree with where Jurgen Klopp's coming from, because you play on a Wednesday night, maybe away in the Champions League, wherever it might be. It's not going to be a million miles away, a couple of hours flight or whatever, but you're still going to be getting back early hours of Thursday. Players are going to be, not training on that Thursday. They're going to have to be rested up, have a light session, come in and, have a little, warm down, shall we say. And then if you're playing at home on the Saturday, you've normally got to go and travel on the Friday. So you've got to have a training session on Friday, try and prepare for that game Saturday, travel up to wherever you're going in a hotel for the night, and then the game first thing in the morning. You've got no real time to, maneuver and prepare. If you played the, 5:30 kickoff, for example, you wouldn't even have to travel on the Friday night. You could travel on the Saturday morning. So that makes things a little bit easier. So I agree with him in that respect. But being an Arsenal fan and the fact that we're in the Europa League, we're playing Sundays. So Saturdays at 12:30. I can't remember. I can't remember last time we played on a Saturday, man. It's always Sundays. It's better for me, man, because my DTFC play on Saturdays. So it's all good in that respect. I had a super chat comment here. Let me try and find this one quickly. Let's have a look. Here we go. Twisted Baba has said, dream signing in January should be Poch. Mate, the only dream is going on in your head. Believe me, you want a man that's won less in 5 years than the current manager we have. Somebody make it make sense. I don't get it. But I respect your opinion. If that's what you feel, then so be it. But Arteta will prove you wrong. Believe me on that. Super chat from Himanshu. And he says, love you as a Chelsea fan. What are your opinions on Lampard and our youngers like Reece, and where we'll be end of the season? As you said, we'll finish out of the top 4. For me, the jury's still out on Frank Lampard. I think that if he doesn't get the top 4, I feel that if he doesn't challenge for the title, given the squad he's got and the money that's been invested in Chelsea, then his job's in jeopardy. He might get away with it for one season, but definitely not next season. Roman Abramovich is not the type to be very sentimental and whatnot. And I just feel that if it's not going right, he would, chop. And but yeah, so far so good. They're doing all right at the moment. And some of their performances I've been impressed with. Some of their performances, not so much. But they've been getting the points on the board and they've been winning. And that's the most important thing. But with the squad he now has, he should be winning. Because I rate players like Ziyech. Werner, despite his missing the Champions League last week, I still think he's a quality player. Havertz, yeah, he's quality. But it's when he comes real good to the levels he was. And whether he'll find that at Chelsea. And I like the new goalkeeper as well. He's certainly better than Kepa. My God, that was one position that he definitely had to change because he was absolutely dreadful. But thank you for your super chat. So, yeah. Yes, I have talked about Dominic Szoboszlai, and I've said that I would absolutely love him. But there's going to be a lot of clubs in for him. I see one here from Skyronical, and he's saying about Edouard, a good replacement for Lacazette. And that's the lad at Celtic, isn't it? And yeah, he's smashing it over there. But then obviously people will say, oh, it's the Scottish League, it's a Farmers League, it's this, that, the other. Listen, at the end of the day, you could sign Neymar and people would go, oh, he's just come from a Farmers League. You could sign Mbappe and people will go, oh, he's only ever played in France. He's played in a Farmers League or whatever it is. But he's definitely got all the makings of a quality striker. He's tearing it up in Scotland and the goals he scored for Celtic. Why has everyone forgotten about Murray? Probably because he signed, came in, got injured, and then the season finished and everything else. And Gabriel come in and yeah, it was one of them, wasn't it? So he's back in training now and he's back in contention. So yeah, it'd be interesting, but he's not going to get ahead of Gabriel. No way. Absolutely no chance. Tom Courtney says about Reece Nelson not even getting the ball off the ground. That's one thing that really, really frustrates the life out of me. Is Reece Nelson and his crosses. He's got everything else, but come on, man. Honest to God, I'd bring him down to my team and I'd bring him in with a couple of my boys and we'd help him work on his crosses. I'm not even joking. I swear down to you. Like, please. I see somebody saying about Mesut here is saying, Mesut Adrian, he's saying, why aren't you at the AFTV fundraiser? Please read this. Simple reason being is because I am a family man and I have my kids. My kids are now asleep because they have school in the morning. And yeah, that's the simple reason why. I just couldn't make it. I was unable to. So I've already spoken to Robbie, and I wished everyone that's involved the best. I'll be putting a little bit of money aside for the charity and everything else, and making a donation. And yeah, what they're doing is absolutely fantastic. And yeah, I wish them all the best. And I'll look forward to seeing, back some of the footage of them all out of breath after 20 minutes on a treadmill. I'd have been absolutely fine. I've been training the whole through lockdown and everything, man. I'm the fittest I've ever been. So it'd have been fun. But no, simple reason being, all jokes aside, is that I've had my kids, and yeah, I've got other priorities, I'm afraid. Let's go through some of these last questions. We've been here for nearly an hour already. The time has flown, and we've gone through so many names. We've been speaking about so many possibilities of who we could be signing in January. I'm going to be doing these live shows each and every week, a couple a week at least. I'm going to be bringing some people in. Watch this space for who I'm going to be bringing in alongside me, doing some co-presenting. Some people, going to be doing their own shows, shall we say, bits and pieces and whatnot. So yeah, it's going to be a bit of fun. Let's go through a couple of these. Yeah, so Bosler ain't coming to Arsenal. Bayern are absolutely mad on bringing him in. Well, yeah, if Bayern Munich are going for him, then we've probably got no chance. Real Madrid might go down to the Europa League. Yeah, I see that. Great. Every year, something happens. One team drops down. 1 year it was Atletico Madrid, and now it could be Real Madrid. It's like, yeah. Cheers, mate. Thank you. Mesut Ozil can't play because it's been raining. Jesus. No, I wouldn't take Antonio from West Ham, and that's not being disrespectful for him. We spoke about the deadwood. We know what's got to go, and everything else. And yeah, it really does need to go big time. Yeah, you always go on AFTV. Get Robbie to come on your channel. Don't worry. Watch this space is all I'm going to say. So, yeah, we're going to have some fun. But look, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to everybody tonight for the last hour. People that have got their questions in, whether they're normal questions, super chats, every single one of them is just as important. What have we got coming up? Well, I go back to training with DTFC tomorrow. If you're not subscribed to the DTFC YouTube channel, we do have our own page, nearly hit at 10,000 subscribers already. The link to that is in the description, so please go over there, click the link to DTFC, and go and subscribe to them, because all our games this season so far are already out. We are, of course, in non-league now, and we're trying to make our way up the pyramid of the English non-league system, and we're in the Premier Division. We're doing really well at the moment, tearing it up. 6 games before this enforced lockdown for the last 4 weeks. 37 goals in 6 games, only 1 conceded. Listen, my team know how to attack. Don't worry about that. But yeah, go over there, hit the subscribe button for me, man, please, all day long. I'm gonna do a live preview and predicted lineup for the Europa League game on Thursday. There's going to be a live player ratings. I'll be on AFTV for the watch along. Then, of course, there will be the preview to the North London derby against Spurs. Watch out for some videos on AFTV featuring myself and Expressions and a few others. Just watch it, trust me on that. And then, yeah, the watch along Sunday, North London Derby. It's going to be emotional, isn't it? But listen, massive thank you to all of you. No probs, Rob 94. We bought Partey to allow Ozil to work his magic. True or false? False, because we're going to have other people for Partey to let them work their magic. That's all I'll say on that one. But yeah, massive thank you to everybody that's locked in, tuned in, wherever you are, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, whatever it is. If you have got Facebook and you want to, go and like the DTFC, my actual page. We ain't got a DTFC Facebook page, but I've got my own Facebook page already, and I think we're sitting at over 20,000 on that already. And we're only just getting around to sorting that one out and using it actively. So yeah, get yourself involved there. Go and like that page. Links in the description, as I was saying. And yeah, just keep an eye out for the content tomorrow morning, DT's Daily, as usual. So thank you for joining me, and I will see you lot soon.